Welcome to SuperCrowd Chicago, live in person at Columbia College Chicago and streaming live internationally on the E360 TV network and across social media. We're going to get started with one of my favorite people. Karl is an extraordinary human being, but he is a crowdfunding savant in many ways. Karl has figured out some nuanced approaches to crowdfunding that are really proving to be successful. So I'm excited that he could make the trip all the way here to share some of his insights with us. Karl is the owner of Dakin Capital. He's a professional entrepreneur and capital coach. He teaches at the University of Denver, at the University of Colorado. With 45 years of experience, he shares his expertise through his instant funding newsletter, and Karl holds a JD and BBA from Washburn University. With that, Karl, I'll turn the time over to you.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you a little bit of information about how I approach and work with crowdfunding. And in a moment, I'm going to share a QR code because Devin was kind enough to take my 45-minute presentation. You get down and say 15 minutes. So rather than talking a million miles an hour, I'm going to give you the whole app a crowdfunding offering to customers. So I'm not talking to angels, I'm not talking VCs, I'm not talking high rates of return. What I'm trying to do is figure out how a small business that doesn't make a high profit margin, doesn't have that much money, can still use crowdfunding as a mechanism to get the funding they need to start and grow. But they're going to do it by matching with people who already know them or the people that they want to in order to get a crowdfunding campaign to be successful. So as with that, there are some basics on capital, and this is one of the points that I'd ordinarily spend more time on. But at the end of the day, we're going to skip forward to three keys. I think that you have to know the company that you're trying to raise, get money from. There's got to be a relationship. There's got to be the funding ready for immediate disbursement deployment. And then the motivation has to be high enough for the investor not only to make the decision to invest, but to choose you over anyone else who's also looking for the money. Whether it's a kid looking for gas for their car for the weekend, or you want to plan your vacation, or it's your church or faith organization, they're all looking for money from everyone. And so you're competing with all of them for this particular choice. So there are a lot of benefits to customer-focused crowdfunding. And part of it is that you move from a transactional type of relationship when you're a customer. You say, I bought a product, bought a service, and I'm gone, one and done. If you get them to invest into your business, they may become a relationship of a lifetime. So you have this continuity of working with someone, and you create a reason for them to come back and buy again, to refer this to their friends, to do a variety of things which all benefit the particular business by targeting the customers instead of somebody you don't know for some particular reason. The other thing that we do here is we're going to change the paradigm. We're not talking about return on investment as the only benefit to the investor. We're going to start talking about folding back in products, discounts, privileges, other things that we can add to the investment package because it changes the mindset. If you talk to the average person on the street, the ones we want to invest in us, they aren't walking around with investor tattooed on their forehead or on their arm. These are people who are just people, and they have a limited amount of money to work with. They don't have this dry powder money setting aside to invest into a particular campaign. They got to take it out of the household budget. So we're putting on the consumer hat when we talk about investing, not the investor hat. They don't get up in the morning, they don't go to KingsCrowd, which they should, but they don't go to KingsCrowd and look at all the crowdfunding offerings that are out there and then pick one like they do when people open the Wall Street Journal They're saying, oh, I just heard about this. This is the business down the street. I know those people, good product. I like the product. Let's go do something. So with that, what I've often found is that when you start doing a rewards campaign kind of blended with an equity campaign, you create this hybrid. It allows you to give up less of the equity, less of the ownership, because we're going to dominate the conversation with the product portion of the investment package, the part that's the immediate gratification, the thing that they can easily value and get away from something in the future at an indefinite time that we're going to get paid back, and they have no way really to appreciate or value that particular investment. So let's focus on what they do know, what they do care about, and something that they can get immediate value from that. So the mindset changes at that particular point in time. The other thing is that, as I said earlier, a lot of these small businesses, most of them, vast majority, they don't make a lot of profit. They can't give up enough money to create a 20+% rate of return without taking all the profit out of the company, leaving nothing for the founders, nothing for the people that are operating them. But if you take the product and the profit margin that's in that product and you marry that with some equity, you can start getting in some interesting rates of return. And from a value standpoint, you can actually offer value to the investor that's greater than the price of the investment package. So anyone who can do simple math is going, oh, I put in $100, I get $200, $300, or $400 of value. This starts to make sense to them, even at the basic level, without training, without sophistication, and it can come out of a household budget. It's affordable. So another point that often drives me crazy is I see people do what I call the investing raising two-step. They'll go over here and try to create a relationship with people they don't know to raise money. And as soon as they raise the money, they go back over here and they use that same money to create relationships with people they don't know to become their customers in the business. So they're doing two sets of work going back and forth. And the result of that is that they're being inefficient in the use of the money, inefficient in building relationships. By bringing these together, where you have the investor and the customer wearing both hats, then you use the money once to build the relationship. You get both the investment dollars, you get a customer potentially for life. And then if you would really do the trifecta, you're going to get them to become an advocate for your company. And now they're doing all the different things you could ever hope someone ever would do for your business in a single relationship with a single use of funds. So that means you can pull part of your marketing budget into your crowdfunding budget and pay for it in that manner. So crafting offers. I typically will start with free products, and this will vary with the company, whether or not it's a product or service, what the profit margin is, a variety of factors that I want to give that investor something today. As soon as they write the check, I want to give them something back. This is just like a rewards campaign, unless it's a delayed type of performance. So you're giving them immediate back, and this is something they can understand and appreciate, and it counts towards their rate of return as they think through this. They're saying, oh, I put up $100, I got $50 of product. I might get 25, it varies a lot. But then I get into product discounts. I will typically match the price of the investment with discounts on products or services going forward in time. They make a $100 investment, I'll give $100 in discounts, maybe a 10, 20%, 25% discount off the best price they would have paid in retail to bring that together. So now they're going, oh, this is something I would buy. I would buy this over time. They value that discount at full value next to the purchase price. So even if the stock never pays back, even if they didn't get a free product, they're already getting the value out of their investment immediately over the term of time it takes them to exercise those discounts going forward. So now I've got free product, then I have discounts, then I will start talking about equity or rev share or an interest-bearing note of some kind. And by doing this, it changes the dynamic, as I said, because they're getting all this value that they can see and understand and appreciate as a consumer. So whatever value you stick on the stock, they're like, well, is it $2 a share or $100 a share? What's that going to be? They don't care so much. And that's important, because if you ever tried to talk to someone who's never invested about putting $100 into a business to get a result 2, 3, 5 years down the road of an unknown amount, they'd rather go out and buy a lottery ticket and know by the next week whether they won or lost, because to them, it all looks the same. It's a gamble. They don't know they're going to make any money. A lot of people will tell you that offerings, they don't expect to get anything back from us. They treat it like a charitable donation, not so much as an investment. Whereas Devin and his program and other people who also expound on the value of investing in your community, there's direct and indirect benefits that come out of this, but they don't think necessarily that way because they're still wearing the consumer hat. So this is a chart that I put together for a particular campaign. It will take at least an hour to explain it, so we're going to skip over that one. And we're going to talk about these different elements. As I said, I try to give a little bit of free product. I try to give at least the dollar value of discounts equal to the purchase price of the investment. And in some cases, we'll do a double or a triple, $200 of discounts, $300 of discounts. And these don't cost anything to the business because they're coming out of future sales. We always calculate these discounts to still give the business a profit on whatever sales do occur. So if you do the calculations, by the time you get done with the crowdfunding campaign, you may have already set the table for hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales because of all the discounts that you've placed out there with your investor pool. And then if you want to go back to the bank for more money or some other good alternative source of capital, you've laid groundwork. Say, I've already got so many investors, they're already holding so many dollars of discounts. If they exercise on these discounts, these are the sales they want to make. These are the profits that are going to follow these particular sales. And as a consequence, they're going, oh, you've got a contract to purchase in the future, and you can sell that to a bank. It comes across very well. Then we talk about the price of the securities. You can put pretty much any price you want to on this, but from the regulatory standpoint, the dollar amount you pay in the investment is the price you give to the security. They treat all the rewards as being free or premiums that follow the purchase of the securities. And when you're doing a deal and talking to the regulators, they don't care about the rewards part of this. All they care about is the securities portion of this investment package. So you say, I'm going to sell them 10 shares for $100. Fine, you're okay with it. I'm going to give them $300 of rewards. Sure, why not? They don't care about it. And so it's a much easier thing to work with from a regulatory standpoint because, again, you're keeping everything simple. On the security side, the rewards is where it gets more complicated, but where you have more fun to be as creative as you want to be. So in a crowdfunding offering, there's other things you can throw into this. You can throw in privileges, like you go to the front of the line. Ever gone into a coffee shop and waited in line for 20 minutes for a cup of coffee? Well, make them a VIP member, give them the ability to cut the line, go to the very front. You think they won't appreciate it? I can guarantee you that they will. Here's another chart that would, what I do is I break out everything across the maximum investment. I break it down by product, by discount, gifts to charities, other things that we can do. And we calculate what the net is that falls to the bottom line. So it's quite possible that in a $500,000 campaign, you may only have $250,000 of cash at the end of the day after paying all the costs of the campaign, all the costs of the products that are involved with that. But this is net cash in your pocket, plus a bunch of customers who have invested in your company. This is a campaign we did where we had both consumers that is using the product and resellers who are taking the product, marking it up, selling it through their retail store. So we created different packages at different levels and different quantities because we had technically two types of customers we were dealing with, those who used it and those who resold it. And so there's still a lot of flexibility in what you can do within your campaign, within your products, within both retail and wholesale prices. So as I mentioned earlier, you have different ways of getting into crowdfunding. And one of the things people often tell me is I don't even have enough money to do the campaign. My response is do a small dollar amount, do a bridge loan, pay for the cost of the campaign, use the campaign to raise a larger amount of money. So I am going to skip through more charts because they're all in the workbook and you all got the QR code. So you're all going to be able to go home and do nothing over the weekend except read that workbook. And I will point out that I do a number of things to share what I know about crowdfunding, different techniques, methods, and so forth. One of those is I do a weekly show on LinkedIn. I do a daily and weekly newsletter called Instant Funding. I actually am working with an AI avatar, which has been trained up to answer questions that you can go to my website and ask it questions if you have no one else to talk to. It's a kind of an interesting conversation. And you can reach me personally. So this is who I am, where I am. If you want to reach out to me and talk to me about anything we've talked about today. But yeah, go back to the QR code. And if you didn't have time to get a quick snap of that during today's program, then write down this email, this web address, and talk to me. And I'll make sure that you get a copy of everything. It's on box.com. You can download it. And as I said, we have 2 live campaigns in here. One was for a CBD topical pain relief product. The other was for a quick food bar, high protein food bar. So you can use crowdfunding almost anywhere, but by allowing you to combine your products and services with the equity, you have a broader range of businesses who can take advantage of it, and you have addressed most of the potential people you really want to raise money from. That's my 15 minutes.